Wellness Food. And this is Dr. Lewis. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. And on this live, we're going to discuss the kidneys and the kidney disease. So welcome aboard, and I hope that you enjoy this and you get to learn from it. Once again, get to interact with us through our platforms, through the chat section. Raise those questions there, communicate with us, and make this as interactive as possible. Now, before I start, I would like to inform you that the week that is coming up from 19th of this month, we shall be in Nairobi and we shall be attending to you in form of consultations. So kindly book your appointment through the contact that I'll put up on my chat section. Book that appointment so that we can have this interaction together. Once again, if my sound is clear, be kind to notify me so that I can begin. As we do that, allow me to bring in my YouTube team. Okay. Good. So thank you so much for joining us. And as usual, it's a pleasure having you here. We don't take you for granted. As we keep on streaming in, we have had the best shows possible according to our rankings. We appreciate you because you're the ones who make us who we are at this moment in time. We want to say thank you. We want also to remind you that if it's the first time you're joining this channel or this platform, this is a health and wellness platform. These are channel that actually brings healthcare to your doorsteps. It bridges the gap between health and the general public. And we appreciate if at all you're on these platforms kindly and you've not subscribed, be kind enough to subscribe and like our videos, share them to all the platforms that you're in. And yeah, so far so good. So it's a pleasure to have you here. I hope that by the end of this live, you would have learned something about the kidneys. Okay, so take that notebook and sit back and enjoy this because it shall be educative. Meanwhile, Halima Hussein, welcome aboard. Augustine Odindo, Virginia Thomas, it's always a pleasure having you here. Quran, Safia Gabriel, Sally Mama Boys, Sianda Mtini, Happiness Adams, Winnie Disu. I'm seeing new people here, and this is so amazing. Jafet Taras, Priska Anyangu, welcome aboard, Priska. Lenny Indahwa. Lenny Indahwa, that sounds like a lawyer name. Eunice Mudhoni, Margaret Lell, Vinnie Maheno, and of course, the one and only Safi. Welcome aboard. So yeah, let's jump straight into it as we do that. But meanwhile, let me just put up the contact that you can reach us on as you book your consultations for 19. The week that runs from 19th of this month. So that is Monday until that Friday. Make your appointments, make your bookings as early as possible. So that is 0707 07 4722. That's our number. Again, remember to like the live, and if you get it informative, share it with other people, and that's how we shall get to grow. So today we're talking about the kidney disease, and basically what you should do if at all you're suffering from the kidney disease. What are the remedies? What are the foods that you can consume when you're trying to aim at recovery from this? Now, sometimes, actually most of the times, when you're diagnosed with the kidney disease and the symptoms show, most of the healthcare providers tend to think that these are the early signs. And most of the times when you go to YouTube and watch the videos that are talking about early signs of kidney disease, you will realize that these signs are actually signs for late kidney disease. At that moment in time, it's already late. So when they're telling you about buildup of toxins, when they're telling you about anemia, when they're telling you about that edema, all these are actually late signs. And by the way, as you progress with the kidney disease, because there are different stages that we'll talk about, 5 of them, As that disease progresses, it takes about years, okay, months and years for you to move from one stage to another. So you realize by the time you're coming to the hospital to get the diagnosis, or by the time you're being initiated on dialysis, it's already too late. It's in maybe stage 4, stage 5, and at that moment in time, there's nothing that can happen. And this goes to is a shout out to those people who just engaged themselves in the 72-hour fast that started on Tuesday at 2 p.m. and ended today at 2 p.m. It was amazing. So next time we are doing this, kindly join in, because this is a way to turn on the switches of healing, internal healing in your body. So never miss these fasting stages or these fasting episodes. We always do a 48-hour fast every after 2 weeks, and then once in a month we can push for a 72-hour fast, and this is voluntary, so you can join in and get the benefits. Omolo Samuel, welcome aboard. John and Carol Jerry, we're glad that you're here. So now, what are the kidneys? Because we cannot talk about kidney disease without making you understand what the kidneys are, what they do, and their functions and their roles in the system. So the kidneys are basically the two, they call it bean-shaped organs in your system. And by the way, unlike other organs like the liver, which can rejuvenate when it's failing, the kidneys are very, very delicate. They hardly rejuvenate. Okay, kidneys and nerves are hard to rejuvenate back. However, you can prevent the occurrence of kidney disease. You can also help your kidney recover, though at a slow rate, but you can help it recover. But if you've allowed your kidney to deteriorate until stage 4 or stage 5, that becomes a difficult reversal stage. It's hard to reverse that. But I want you to know, in healthcare, there is nothing like late in healthcare. Okay, so if you discover it earlier, the better for you. But if you discover it late, then of course there are things that you can do to actually prolong your life, and also to help the kidneys start to rejuvenate, even if it's at a slow rate. So just as I said, most of the times you will be diagnosed of kidney disease when it's already too late, just like cancer. Most people who experience gastric cancer or stomach cancer or even the colon cancer, they have been using omeprazoles and the kits, H. pylori kits, all through hoping or thinking that they have H. pylori or have a gastritis or hyperacidity for the longest period of time. And by the time you're being diagnosed of cancer and you realize it was a misdiagnosis of H. pylori and this gastritis thing, it's already in stage 4 and it's hard to reverse. However, these are the functions of the kidney. And I know most of you already know these functions, but of course, I need to give you a refresher course. Number one is elimination. So what are the kidneys eliminating in the system? One of the things that kidneys eliminate is toxins. So anytime you're eating, let's say, a protein diet, that protein is converted to, of course, ammonia and then urea. So that urea has to get out of the system. If it doesn't get out of the system, it will start accumulating in blood. And once it accumulates in blood, of course, that's a recipe for problems, because it can cause you mental problems. It can also cause you a failure in the liver. It can also cause you problems in regulation of acid and base. Okay. So number one is urea. So toxin number one is urea. There are other toxins that are so many, including the heavy metals and stuff, including even excess salt. So it gets out. The kidney's function is to get out these toxins from the system and make you lead a healthy life. Also waste products, and also urea is part of the waste products. Again, we have excess fluids. So there is this saying that always circulates in the healthcare systems, that salt causes you hypertension. Now realize this, salt does not play that role. Salt does not cause you hypertension. Salt is actually something that will help you maintain your blood pressures. And also salt makes your blood vessels very flexible. So therefore it can help people who have hypertension. Okay, and again, you cannot have excess salt because one, your taste buds cannot allow you to eat excess salt. And number two, it is the role of the kidneys to excrete salt. So salt is excreted through the kidneys. Salt is also excreted through tears, saliva, and sweat. But the major culprit that we keep on ignoring is the sugar. Sugar cannot leave the body in any way until there's something you have to do. You have to exercise or you have to fast to burn it. So salt is never the problem because it can easily leave the body, so you cannot have excess of it. And again, the kidneys regulate the amount of salts that you're using. Okay, so again, on the elimination part, salt is part of it. Same to fluids, excess fluids. So you can never go into excess fluids if at all your kidneys are perfectly functional. Okay, number two role is regulation. So what does the kidneys regulate? One, of course, pH, the acid-base balance. Okay, so it's the role of the kidneys and the lungs to actually regulate the acid-base balance. For example, if you're getting into acidosis, so your blood pH is going down. If you're getting into acidosis, you will start breathing short breaths and very, very, very quick breathings. Okay, this is basically your lungs trying to give you oxygen so that you can clear out the acid in the system. Also, your kidneys start to reabsorb hydrogen ions, no, bicarbonate ions, so that they can neutralize the hydrogen ions in your blood and therefore take your pH back to normal. So it's the role of the kidneys to reabsorb hydrogen ions and also to reabsorb bicarbonate ions. So if you're going into alkalosis, the basicity, you reabsorb hydrogen ions, sorry, so that you go back to acidity. So it neutralizes that. And if you're getting into acidosis, basically metabolic acidosis, you have high hydrogen ions in your system, so they have to be neutralized. The kidney reabsorbs bicarbonates to neutralize this, and that's how you do it. Then the kidneys also regulate electrolyte balance. So sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium are all excreted and reabsorbed in the kidneys. So it's the role of the kidneys to maintain electrolyte balance. Again, regulation of blood volume. Now remember this. The kidney produces a hormone that is called erythropoietin, EPO. It is the role of that hormone to instruct the bone marrow to start producing red blood cells. Now, this is in reaction to low blood volumes or low red blood cells. So if you're getting into anemia, the kidney will secrete this hormone that is called erythropoietin, and then this hormone will instruct the bone marrow to start producing red blood cells so that you get into if your blood level starts to go up, okay, and then your oxygen circulation improves. So this tells you that if you'll ever have a kidney problem, of course, number one, you'll have toxins building in your system, so you'll die of toxicity. Number two, you'll have a problem with accumulation of fluid, therefore edema, therefore heart problems will be there. Number three, you will have also a buildup of waste materials. You'll build up these toxin metals. Most of the ladies who are using these skin products that have high content of mercury, you're actually hurting your kidneys. So when you're using that to lighten your skin, well done, you'll get the light skin. However, you will end up killing your kidneys. And once you kill your kidneys, of course, now high blood pressure will be there because the kidneys regulate blood pressure. Anemia will be there because the kidneys regulate red blood cell synthesis. Toxicity will be there because there's a buildup of urea, creatinine, and nitrogen in your blood, and that is highly toxic. Now you get into a heart problem, okay, because you cannot regulate electrolytes like sodium and potassium. You'll get into problems with weak bones because you cannot reabsorb calcium. And then you'll accumulate so much fluid. So that is hypertension and edema in your legs. That's why people who have kidney problems have a puffed up face. They have edema all over in their legs and it's spitting edema. When you press it, it goes in and forms a hole and comes back slowly to pop out. Okay, so this is actually related to issues with the kidneys. And then the kidneys also play a role in secretion. And when I'm talking about secretion, I'm also talking about that hormone, the EPO. So don't forget that. Also, there's another hormone that is called calcitonin. Again, on top of the kidneys, we have a gland that is called the adrenal gland. And the function of this gland is one, to instruct the kidneys on how to regulate electrolyte balance. So basically, if there is so much electrolytes in the system, this gland instructs the kidneys to excrete those electrolytes. And if there's lower, then it instructs the kidneys to reabsorb. Okay, so this tells you that, and actually that hormone is called aldosterone, and that hormone comes from cholesterol. So guess what? If you don't consume cholesterol, you will end up having hypertension. You will end up having compromise in kidney function. So eat your cholesterol-rich diets. Okay. Above all, the kidneys also produce or activate vitamin D. So the last stage of activation of vitamin D happens in the kidneys. So you get ultraviolet radiation on your skin, converts that cholesterol in your skin into inactive vitamin D. This is carried all the way to the liver for activation, stage one. And then after activation, it's then carried all the way to the kidneys for the last stage of activation to form active vitamin D. So therefore, if you have a fatty liver and you have failing kidneys, you will not be able to regulate or activate vitamin D. Your immunity will start going down. Your bones will start becoming weak because of bone resorption, and that is a problem to you. So therefore, you get those children having rickets. You get those adults having very weak bones and fractures. You get those old people having osteoporosis and osteomalacia. Now you understand where that is coming from. Again, the kidneys produce another hormone that is called renin. So if you're keen, three hormones. One is coming from the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys, that is called aldosterone, regulates blood pressure. One is called renin, that is coming from the kidneys, helps in reabsorption of water to increase blood volume, to maintain blood pressure. It's called renin. And then the third one is basically erythropoietin that controls red blood cells. Also, kidneys produce prostaglandins. Ladies, when you're getting into your menstrual cycle, there are those chemical compounds that cause the contraction of the uterus so that you can slow off the wasted uterus and get your menses. This is regulated by these prostaglandins that are produced in the kidneys. Now, there is a danger. There is a danger in that if at all, okay, if at all you're going to take NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. I've talked about this before. If you're going to take ibuprofen, diclofenac, aceclofenac for the pain that is caused by menses, you are going to mess this up. So start balancing your hormones by eating healthy and fasting so that you don't have to take these painkillers. If you take those over-the-counter painkillers for your menses, you are actually blocking the production of these prostaglandins. When you block that production of those prostaglandins, what you're doing is you're going to retain that wall, that wasted wall, and that is a source of recurrent infections in your uterus. That is a problem. Let that sink in. Those people who like going for diclofenac to help you in menstrual relief, menstrual pain relief, you're going to get problems. Now you see again the kidneys are producing prostaglandins. That's the reason why if you're using non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, the painkillers, you're going to hurt your kidneys. And actually, prolonged use of these painkillers reduce renal perfusion. So they reduce the amount of blood that is going towards the kidneys. This is a recipe for disaster. This is a recipe for disaster. If you've not seen that video that I talk about how to manage menstrual pain, you can look up my programs or my channel and see there's a video that I'm talking about natural ways to control or to ease up menstrual pain. So do not abuse over-the-counter medication because they'll cause you acute kidney injury. Now, it used to be called acute kidney failure, but acute kidney injury came in because it's easily reversible. You can easily reverse acute kidney disease. When it gets to end-stage kidney failure, that's the problem. But when it's still acute and in early stages, like stage 3 and 3A and 3B, before it gets to stage 4, it is easy for you to reverse the kidney problem. Okay? So don't buy the fear. Don't buy the fear. And then the last function of the kidney is gluconeogenesis. Those people who keep telling us that when I fast, I'll have low energy and I'll faint. The body cannot allow you to faint just because you fasted. There is a lot of fat in your body, and this fat will be broken down to give you ketone bodies. Also can be broken down to give you glucose. The same way, proteins can be broken down to give you glucose. So gluconeogenesis basically means gluco for glucose, neo for new, and genesis generate, which means you're generating glucose from new sources that are not carbohydrates. Therefore, it's a lie if somebody tells you the only source of glucose in your body is carbohydrates. That is the strategy the food industry uses to market their products, because in the supermarket, literally 90% of the foodstuffs are carbohydrates. So of course, we have to make sure that we market our carbohydrates. So how do we market them? We have to demean other foods, we have to demarket other foods, and then now we provide a chance to market our products. And then number 2, we have to make sure that their products, the healthy products, are not in the market. For example, sometimes back, ghee just disappeared. And everybody was concerned is because of the drought and the cattle were dying, so therefore there's no milk and there's no ghee. Ghee was always there. However, the food industry does not think like you. The food industry woke up earlier than you. So what they do is they come up and buy off this ghee from the market so that it's not available to the consumer. Yes, the industries that are making ghee are making money, of course, because it has been bought out to the depots. So they buy it out and make sure it is not in the market, it's not available in the market. So you might end up thinking, ghee just disappeared because Of course, there was a drought. And then you end up using seed oils, the vegetable oils, because they are so available. So listen to this. There was a drought, yes. Okay? Yes, there was a drought. And that drought did not affect cattle only. That drought also affected plants. So how is it possible that we have seed oils that are coming from plants? Like there's a seed oil that is coming from corn, the maize. There's a seed oil that is coming from cotton. So how is it possible that we have all this supply of seed oils even in droughts? Yet these plants are also affected by droughts. And how is it possible that animal products just disappear in the markets because of droughts? Are you thinking? Are we all thinking the same? Are we together? Like, how is it possible that this drought is selective to animal products? When you start looking at it with a third eye, it becomes easier for you to understand how the food industry and the big pharma operates. But until then, they'll keep on taking advantage of you. Anyway, let us continue. So, like 15% of the population, and this is so absurd because this is a higher figure, 15% of the population is suffering from chronic kidney disease, but they don't know. So when your father is going to be diagnosed with kidney disease, when he comes out with that diagnosis for the first time, he has been having all this chronic kidney disease all through, but he never knew. Most of you who are hypertensive, you have hypertension and you have diabetes, of course that is showing you something. There's a problem because hypertension and diabetes are number one on the list of things that kill the kidneys. So if you're diabetic, don't take it lightly. I keep on preaching about the diets that will help you recover from these chronic conditions, and don't take them as a joke, because if you're diabetic, it's just a matter of time. And remember, like moving from stage 1 to stage 2 of kidney disease can take you 5 years. So by the time you're getting to stage 4, it has been a process. And remember, the kidneys hardly rejuvenate. They're not like the liver that you can hurt 2/3 of the liver and still their third will generate a new liver. The kidney is not that lenient. It's not that, it's a very delicate organ. Okay? So if you hurt it in a progressive manner, you can never go back. That's why you'll end up getting dialysis. And remember, the kidney filters a lot of blood every day, around 180 liters of blood on a daily basis. So just imagine that. Because the heart pumps 5 liters of blood per minute, and 25% of that 5 liters of blood goes through the kidneys in a minute. That tells you 180 liters of fluid and blood is filtered in the kidneys every single day. So come to think of it, if the kidney is filtering 180 liters every single day, and you keep hurting it slow by slow, how much of the toxins shall you accumulate in your system? It shall take time, yes, but you will get there. And now, there is nothing that can actually compete with the filtration rate of the kidneys, not even dialysis. This is the reason why dialysis patients will go for dialysis 3 sessions a week. Take a second and think about that. Nowadays, dialysis is about 10,000 shillings. So that is 30,000 shillings, Kenya shillings every week. Multiply by 4. That is 120,000 shillings in a month. Now, your current job, is it able to pay these bills when you're at 40? Do the math. So health has a way of taking money out of your pocket so fast. And that's why you need to fix your mindset, you need to fix your health. Because it takes money out of your pocket so fast, more than the rate that you made that money. Look at how COVID did to people. An admission of about 4 days, almost 500,000 is gone. And how long did it take you to make 500,000? So there are very few symptoms of kidney disease when it's still acute. Very few. Because remember, your blood sugars, even a fat person, his blood sugars are always normal. That's why they'll tell you, I'm not diabetic, my blood sugars are okay. Because they're still storing that glucose in the fat cells. So they are pre-diabetic, but they don't know. This is the same thing that is happening to your kidneys. And diabetes type 2 is number one by far on the causes of kidney failure, chronic kidney failure. We cannot afford diabetes. Most of you stigmatize HIV patients. Most of you stigmatize people who have tuberculosis, but you fail to understand that diabetes is worse than these things, because diabetes kills your eyes, diabetes kills your kidneys, diabetes kills your brain, diabetes kills your nerves. Therefore, numbness is there. Therefore, anemia is there. Therefore, vitamin D deficiency is there. Therefore, low immunity. Therefore, hypertension is there, because when you kill the kidneys, you cannot regulate blood pressure. You end up having hypertension, chronic hypertension. Therefore, heart disease is there. Therefore, toxin buildup is there. Therefore, psychosis is there. So you get mad, you get crazy. Something called hepatic encephalopathy. You have a liver problem and a kidney problem, but you're experiencing symptoms of a mad person. So you're given antipsychotics, but the problem is not in the mind. The problem is in the failing liver and the failing kidneys. At least for the liver, we can rejuvenate it. So don't take this easily. Don't take this as a joke. Because and by the way, I asked this and people, they brought down my videos. How is it possible that those people who go for dialysis are the same people who are on higher doses of anti-diabetic drugs, higher doses of insulin, higher doses of hypertension drugs, higher doses and more drugs on their prescription? How is it possible that we are trying to treat diabetes and end up getting a complication of diabetes? Because kidney failure is a complication of diabetes. But we are on high doses of these drugs, metformins, those combinations. We are on high doses and more drugs for hypertension, but we still end up getting heart attacks. We still end up getting an amputation. We still end up getting dialysis and kidney transplants. That should open up your mind to tell you that medications cannot treat dietary diseases. So diabetes can never be treated with medicines. It can't. Insulin is an emergency drug. If you're on insulin all through, unless you're type 1 diabetic, which again, we need to edit that, it's high time we walk out of the syllabus. So anytime you're reading about kidney disease and you see the symptoms, those symptoms are actually for chronic kidney disease or chronic kidney failure or end-stage renal disease. They're not for acute disease, kidney disease, because for the acute ones, we'll see pre-diabetes, we'll see the pot belly, we'll see erectile dysfunction, because diabetes kills your erection. Because the symptoms of early kidney disease are actually the symptoms of insulin resistance. Blackman King, today I have met a mother of 1 year old. Her son was diagnosed with high blood pressure. What can you prescribe? We cannot prescribe things, bro. A 1 year old is so absurd that a 1 year old can have hypertension. We need more history about that. We need to understand a lot about that. We need to understand if this child is type 1 diabetic. We need to understand if this child has the kidneys functioning. We need to understand the diets that this child has been using. So we cannot diagnose that or prescribe anything online. So don't rely on online prescriptions and online medication. Okay? Diagnosis on online is not possible. So these are just some of the signs of kidney disease that are actually confused to be signs of early kidney disease. Early kidney disease. No, these are signs for late kidney disease. Number one on the list is, of course, fatigue. When you start feeling fatigue, that is basically a sign of anemia. At this time, it's already late. It's already very late. So anemia will cause you the fatigue. And also the buildup of toxins, the urea, the BUN, blood urea nitrogen, the creatinine. And this has to go to my people who go to the gym and take the protein shake and the creatine powders. This is for you. Now listen. As you take that protein powder, just remember it has fructose, it has sugar, and then it has creatinine, which is actually it's made in the lab. It's a highly purified substance. So listen to this. Creatinine is not even absorbed by your kidneys. So the kidneys reabsorb literally every other macronutrient or micronutrient and electrolytes, the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium, Glucose, 100% of glucose is reabsorbed back through the kidneys. Salts are reabsorbed back. But the only compound that is not reabsorbed back is basically that creatinine. And creatinine comes from creatine. So those who tell me creatine and creatinine are different, creatinine is a byproduct or actually a metabolic product of creatine. So as you shake that bottle and drink it in your gym, you want to grow big because you're impatient and you don't understand why you walked into the gym. As you take it, it has fructose that will cause you insulin resistance, number one on the list of kidney failures. It has also glucose that will also cause or exacerbate insulin resistance, another number one on kidney disease. And then now you have a substance that the kidney does not like, because if it liked it, it will reabsorb it back. So it's useless. It's a waste product. So as you're thinking you're going to make those muscles, you're going to hurt your kidneys and you're going to die of a heart attack. This is to the boys who are always shaking bottles in the gym with creatine powders and those muscle expanders. The gym was designed to mimic activities that you used to do traditionally that we don't do now: squatting, bending, pulling, pushing. Nobody goes to the farm to dig and come out with a big chest. So the gym comes in to actually do what farming was being done. The reasons why you went to the farm was because you wanted to increase productivity. So you cannot walk into a gym to come out with a big chest. You got the message wrong. That is not the function of the gym. That is for you. Anyway, number 2 on the list is poor sleep. And by the time you're getting poor sleep, is because of accumulated toxins. So the kidneys are already failing. Number 3 on the list is, of course, poor appetite because of increased urea in the system. Then, of course, more than 4 times of urination at night. It's called nocturia. You keep on going to the toilet to urinate, and that is a sign of diabetes, and also that is a sign of kidney problems. Sometimes blood in urine, sometimes proteins in urine. Sometimes you urinate foamy urine, a urine that has a lot of foam. And then sometimes you have very puffed up eyes, and they edema in your system. Most people experience the itching. You start scratching your skin all over. And some of you will think it's because of cold showers. When I tell you to take cold showers, you start telling me, cold showers are actually the reason why I start itching. Look at your blood sugars. Go and do a kidney function test and see what is going to happen. And then we can talk about cold showers. By the time you're getting high uremia in blood, by the time you're getting azotemia, by the time you're getting your GFR going down, the filtration rate of the kidneys going down, by the time you're getting the urine volume going down, it is late. So some of these symptoms that you're being told every day on the internet, these are symptoms for chronic kidney disease. So at that moment in time, you have wasted a lot of time already. So start protecting your kidneys now by changing your diets. Ain't that interesting? Good. Prudence Moeketsi, I'm new here. Glad I caught this live. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is an amazing channel and you'll learn a lot of things from this channel. I have had 3 laser lithotripsy to remove kidney stones. This is Samuel Asowa. How safe am I concerning kidney disease? How can I eliminate kidney stones completely? Is it true thyroid issues also affect kidney stones? So I'll tell you this for free, that all of us form kidney stones every day, every time. Just the same way most of us form the gallbladder stones every day. But they get out because our diets are fixed, no sugars, there is no compromised kidney, so they get out of the system. But you see now, Samuel, you're focusing on how to clear kidney stones instead of focusing on how to change the nature of the kidneys. So you're focusing on the symptoms instead of focusing on the cause. You have had all these things being done to you, but you've never asked your doctor, how about the diets? So what is hurting the kidneys? What is making me not to excrete these stones? Because a simple diet, just like the lemon peel juice, can easily melt these stones. Simple steps like dropping sugar and seed oils can actually rejuvenate your kidneys and you start clearing these stones. You don't need a medication, you don't need a surgery, you don't need laser therapy. So sometimes let's try and always let's put our mindset on focusing on how to cure the cause and not to focus on how to treat the symptoms. Because that's exactly how the system is designed, to make you always think about the symptoms and not think about the cause. Okay? So let's focus on that. So anytime you see protein in urine, and most of the times when somebody goes for a urine test, the urinalysis, just a normal urine test to ascertain if you have a urinary tract infection, most of you will see proteins in urine. Now, anytime you see proteins in urine, just know you're starting a problem. You're already having a problem. That infection that you have is already causing you kidney problems, because the kidneys are like a sieve, kichungi. So what they do is they regulate what is going through this sieve. And larger molecules like the proteins cannot go through this sieve. Therefore, if you see albumin, just start asking yourself questions. If you see any protein molecules in urine, start to ask yourself questions. It's not about you eating too much protein. It's not about you eating the wrong amounts of protein. No, that is the system lying to you. It's about you fixing the sieve. It's about what you've been eating that is causing you that kidney problem, that is opening up the sieve to make larger holes so that proteins and blood cells start to pass through that sieve. That sieve is designed to help you filter blood so that larger molecules like proteins and blood cells are retained in the system, and the fluids, electrolytes, the smaller ones, are taken out because they're in excess. So if you start seeing your serum creatinine and serum nitrogen going up, the BUN, if you've ever done a kidney function test, you will see the BUN, blood urea nitrogen, and also the creatinine. If they're up, if they're above the normal ranges, start realizing there's a problem. If you see protein in urine, there's a problem. If you see glucose in urine, there's a problem. So protect that organ by all you have, because that organ is very important. Imagine regulating blood levels. Imagine regulating blood pressure. Imagine regulating fluid balance and electrolyte balance. It's actually protecting all other organs in the system. But we ignore it. But now you know that it fails slowly but surely. And once it's failing totally, now the only option you'll have is dialysis and a transplant. And again, the weird part is your body can reject that transplant. Just the same way people who do a skin transplant, body can reject it and it becomes chaotic. So proteins in the body, when you eat a protein diet, what will happen is you break that protein to amino acids. And then these amino acids are broken down to ammonia. Now that ammonia is carried to the liver for detoxification, and the liver converts that ammonia to urea in the urea cycle. Those who have done biochemistry understand that. And then after we've gotten urea from that ammonia in the urea cycle, we take this urea to the kidneys for excretion in urine as urea. Some of it is reabsorbed back so that it can help you concentrate urine. But most of it is excreted out. But the creatinine, because of muscle wasting, cannot be reabsorbed back. It has to go out. But when you block your kidneys from excreting this creatinine, of course, now the level starts to go up in blood. The level of ammonia goes up in blood. The level of urea goes up in blood. And then you start to experience all these effects. Now your EPO goes down, anemia comes in. Now you cannot regulate electrolytes and fluid balance. Hypertension comes in. Heart problems come in. And then they tell you salt is causing you these problems. Salt does not cause you these problems. And actually, those foods that they warn you when you're at stage 4, stage 5 of kidney disease are not foods that cause the kidney disease problem. These are foods that will actually exacerbate the consequences of kidney disease. Underline those words that I'm saying. That those foods that they warn you against when you have a kidney problem, they are not the foods that caused you the kidney problem. So don't confuse the two. And I think the medics confuse it here, because medics think Because we have to warn you against some foods that are rich in potassium, that are rich in sodium. These are the foods that cause you kidney problems. No, they don't. We are blaming the wrong food. These are foods that will actually exacerbate the consequences of chronic kidney disease. The consequences of chronic kidney disease. Not the kidney disease, but the consequences. So you already have the kidney disease as a result of diabetes and hypertension. And now, those foods can exacerbate the problems that come as a result of a kidney disease. So if I warn you against the green leafy vegetables, I'm lying to you. And take note, they will warn you about these foods. They warn you about avocados, about the green bananas because of potassium, the green leafy vegetables. And then they will never talk about sugar. They will tell you to continue eating that bread. They will tell you to continue eating that chapati, just make it brown. They'll tell you to keep using those vegetable oils because the system says vegetable oils are healthy. They'll tell you not to eat saturated fat. They'll tell you not to eat meat because meat will cause you an increase in nitrogen. But listen, sugar caused you a problem in the kidneys in the beginning. So why don't we eliminate the sugar? Why don't we just do away with the carbohydrates? Anyway, topic for another day. So there are stages of kidney disease. And yeah, let me just address that. There are stages of kidney disease. Stage 1 is stage 1 and 2 are called the normal ones because they are GFR. GFR is glomerular filtration rate. So this is the amount of fluid that is filtered by the kidneys. When that volume goes down per minute, that becomes a problem. So this volume has to be above 90. So stage 1 is basically 90 to 120 and above. Then stage 2, of course, 60 to 90. Stage 3 goes to about 30 to 60, but stage 3 is divided into two. We have stage 3A and stage 3B. So if you're still filtering blood above 60 milliliters per minute, that is basically stage 3B, you're still safe. There's no call for alarm at this level. Because this is moderate kidney disease, moderate. It's actually still part of the acute kidney injury. And what is causing these acute kidney injuries? We'll talk about them. But just mark this, that diabetes cannot miss there, both on acute and chronic. But on acute, we have several causes. And cause number 1 is basically the use of NSAIDs, the painkillers. The use of steroids. Ladies who are using steroids to lighten your skin and also to grow those hips, you're hurting your kidneys. Men who use steroids and those who use protein powders in the gym to gain muscles, you're hurting your kidneys. And of course, right now you cannot listen because, sorry about that. Of course, you cannot listen because, of course, yeah, you cannot listen now because you want to gain that muscle as fast as possible and you want to be that beast. But yes, it does pay off in the shortest period of time, but the consequences will be for a lifetime. We will not care that you went in the gym. You actually will end up kesha than your gym. Because after getting that body, and that body does not pay you, and even if it does pay you, you cannot afford dialysis sessions for a lifetime. You can't. Okay? So NSAIDs, sugar, wheat products, seed oils, medicines like the antibiotics that are reserved for chronic conditions like vancomycin, like the anti-TB drugs, they actually hurt your kidneys. And these are diseases that you can just control by controlling what you eat and boosting your immunity by fasting. And now as you head to chronic kidney disease, basically stage 4 and stage 5, you are limited with options. At this level in time, or at this moment in time, you will need a dialysis 3 times a week, and then you will need a kidney transplant at some point, of course. And at this moment in time, you're actually still hurting the same kidneys through high doses of diabetes drugs and hypertension drugs. So these are some of the causes. Actually, these are the major causes of the kidney disease. Number 1 is diabetes, and diabetes definitely leads to hypertension. And then, so number 1 is diabetes, and number 2 is hypertension. Of course, number 2 is linked to number 1. Then you have a problem with the thyroid. Yes, the thyroid can hurt your kidneys. Thyroid problems. Then you have chronic inflammation and autoimmune conditions. Those people who have SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. So this is what we call the lupus disease, is an autoimmune. And remember what we said about the autoimmune conditions? They hail from that organ that is on top of the kidneys, that is called the adrenal gland. That is the gland that suppresses autoimmune. It reminds your immunity not to target your own cells. So if you've been consuming seed oils, wheat products, processed foods, fizzy drinks, uh, um, all these foods that we call inflammatory foods, you're hurting your adrenals, and therefore you're causing your immune system to overreact. You're also hurting your gut, and gut inflammation will lead to an overreacting immunity. So you will suffer. You will not lack autoimmune conditions, including diabetes type 1. Lois Makomele is asking, how about ketones in urine? Now, ketones are actually the best energy sources of the body. When we are fasting, and we just completed a 72-hour fast, when we are fasting, we are not consuming glucose. We've done away with glucose and glycogen stores already, and we don't have any glucose in our system. Therefore, the body turns to alternative sources of energy, and these are the fats. And then the body breaks down fats to give you ketone bodies. So if you're not diabetic, you will not get DKA, you will not get diabetic ketoacidosis, because diabetic ketoacidosis is actually you having high glucose in the system, and then you having counter-regulatory hormones that are actually burning fat to give you ketone bodies. So you have two energy sources in the system that you cannot utilize. That is DKA. Don't confuse that with ketosis or ketogenesis. Ketogenesis is you have fasted and then you have consumed all the glucose in your system, and now you have lowered your insulin to a level that now the body has to turn to fat as an alternative sources of energy to break it down to give you ketone bodies, the best energy sources of your system, the best energy sources for your brain, the best energy sources for your nerves, and they rejuvenate the nerves. And they're the best energy sources for the whole body, the ketone body. So if you see ketones in your urine, no problem. We produce them every day as long as you're a fat adapted person. If you're a carbohydrate dependent person, that is a problem to you because you have high glucose and again you have high ketone bodies. But beyond 24 hours of fasting, you get into ketosis. You start burning fat to give ketone bodies, which are very healthy. They heal inflammation. They turn on switches of healing internally. They activate your brain. They are the best sources of energy for the brain. And ketone bodies give you 10 kilograms of ATP as compared to glucose that gives you 8 kilograms of ATP. So if you're bright, you already know that fats are the best energy sources. And they're actually the energy giving foods. I have seen prescriptions for diets for people who are at stage 4. One of my clients had their father on a prescription of diets for stage 4 and stage 5 kidney disease. They are on dialysis for that matter. And the nutritionist is actually writing, eat 2 pieces of bread, eat brown chapati, take the fruit that is in season. I mean, who taught people things? Do we study from different angles or something? Because sugar is actually the one that is causing kidney problems. How are you then feeding us with sugar? And then NB, avoid salt. Another one, use liquid cooking oils. This is a person who is thinking solid vegetable oils are different from liquid vegetable oils. These are your nutritionists out there. These are your medics out there. This is a person who is being reviewed by a nephrologist, somebody who claims to be an expert in kidney disease, but it's somebody who has actually approved the nutritionist dietary plan that actually says take uji, porridge in the morning, take porridge at 4 p.m., eat light carbohydrates like rice. Can you imagine that? What the? Sometimes it's amazing to do my job. It's amazing. So ketones in urine, Lois Makomele, is no problem. Go ahead and fast, and you'll see how much ketones you'll produce. Just the same way uric acid is also blamed for causing you gout. Indeed, we produce uric acid every day as an antioxidant in the system. Wasike is saying we'll be given new bodies in heaven. That's what they tell me all the time. Mwili mpya tutapewa mbinguni. And they will never say that when they're on a dialysis machine. At that moment in time, it's like, oh, Daktari, how can I be better? What should I eat? And they come with all these questions. And by the way, health becomes very expensive, and you can never appreciate your health until it hits you financially, physically, and psychologically. At that moment in time is when you start listening. But how long have you taken to listen? The longest period of time. You've hurt your kidneys already. So at that moment in time, yeah, you just wait for your new body in the heaven. Heaven shall give you a new body. They call me Shakahola Master. Well done. Well done. Michael Bomet, I always join in late. I've just turned on notifications. I love your shows. Very informative. You deserve the information, bro. That's why I'm here. You've just answered this Black Man King. You've just answered my curiosity to ask why, after 48 hours of fasting, suddenly get surge in energy from nowhere. He understands the gospel. He understands the gospel. Mental clarity, super high. Energy, super high. And you, before you attain that, before you get to levels of fasting for 48-hour fast and beyond, you might end up thinking that energy is coming from your stomach. Therefore, you have to eat to get energy. Try a fast and then tell me if at all that energy is coming from your stomach. Energy does not come from stomach. Energy comes from fat cells and storage in the liver. If at all energy came from the stomach, how is it possible that immediately after eating, you get the energy? Are you not fooling us? You have not even digested that food. And now the system has told you, has lied to you that you have to defend that you eat for energy. Those people who are working out and working hard, they have to eat to get energy. And listen to how the system defends that. That people who work out have high metabolic rate. Therefore, if they eat, that energy is digested, that food is digested faster and gives them energy. Lies. You need about 6 to 8 hours to get energy from the food that you just ate. So how is it possible that you just got energy instantly? Don't lie to us. So the real deal here is control your hormones. It's not about how much you eat. Control your hormones. Train your body to start burning fat instead of burning carbohydrates. Once you've trained it that way, it basically tells you that you'll start burning storage instead of storing energy. If your insulin levels are always high, kidney disease is there, heart condition is there, insulin resistance is there, a fatty liver is there. But if you train your body to maintain insulin at low, it means every food or any carbohydrate that you eat is available in blood as glucose, so you can burn it to get the energy. It doesn't go into storage. Don't train your body to always store energy. And immediately you eat a carbohydrate, you spike insulin, and insulin stores this carbohydrate. Therefore, your body does not have energy. So it has to send you into cravings to bring in more energy. That's how you keep on getting fat. Safi is saying, I feel like my body being reborn after all this information on hose. That's how we do it. When you start eating healthy foods, when you start fasting, just give an 8-hour gap between your meals. 2 meals a day are enough. You don't need to eat 3 meals a day. Don't fall for that company's marketing strategy to market their products. Don't. Also, poisoning is part of the causes of kidney disease. And this is coming in the GMO products. This is coming in those products that you're using on your skin. So avoid them. Okay? Good. So keep asking those questions. I'll keep responding to those that I can. Those that are sticking on the topic, I'll keep responding to them. So when you've gotten to this level, what are you going to find? What are you going to get? You're going to get problems with appetite. So nausea and vomiting will be there. Anorexia will be there. Headaches will be there. Hypertension will be there. Anemia will be there. Toxic building in your system will be there. So psychosis is coming. And we'll give you an antipsychotic instead of fixing your diets. Heart failure is coming. Weak bones are coming. Shortness of breath is coming. Angela Midoni, we are learning every day. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Angela. So the major symptom of acute kidney problem, look at your belly. Look at your belly. Are you happy? That is number one. Are you happy with that belly? If you're happy, then well done. Men, if you have a pot belly and you stand in front of a mirror naked and you cannot see your penis, that's a symptom of problems. If you walk into a hotel and you order a meal, and why are you in hotels anyway? And you order a meal, and that meal is delayed by 5 minutes, and you get so angry, you want now to see the manager. Where is the manager? This waiter is wasting my time. He's not wasting your time. He's actually helping you to fix your food addiction. So these are the symptoms of the first acute kidney disease. How can you walk into a hotel, uitishe chakula, order food, and then this food delays for only 5 minutes, and you're so angry, and this is the worst hotel that you've ever gotten in or ever ordered a meal from. You order your food through, nowadays we have Uber Eats. Nowadays we have, is it Glover that brings you food at your doorstep. And the rider delays by 10 minutes, and you're so angry at this rider. Of course, because your insulin is always high and it's sending you into cravings. Your estrogen are always high. You're so emotional, you cannot even control your emotions. There is a problem here. There is a problem here. So yeah. So if you're that type of person that gets angry because food has been delayed, it's time to fold your sleeves. Roll your sleeves. We have work to do. So standard diets for kidney disease only minimize the consequences of kidney failure. Listen to that statement. Standard diets for kidney disease only minimize the consequences of kidney failure. So as your doctor is telling you to quit green bananas, to quit green leafy vegetables, to quit saturated fats, he's not telling you that these are foods that cause you kidney problems, because he doesn't even know. He's actually telling you that these are the diets that will exacerbate the consequences of a kidney failure. So you already had a kidney failure. So limiting sodium, potassium, nitrogen, basically protein diet, and coffee does not mean that this will cause you a kidney disease. Limiting that coffee, limiting that saturated fat, limiting protein diets, limiting salt does not tell you that those are the foods that cause you kidney problems. That is a confusion. That anytime you're told to limit foods, you start thinking that these foods are the ones that cause you this problem. No, they are not. These foods will actually exacerbate the consequences of kidney failure. So unlearn, eat your food. Drop the foods that cause you kidney problems. Now, before I continue, I'll put up that number again for consultation. On 19th of this month, we'll be in Nairobi. You can book your consultations through that number. Make it early so that we can attend to you in good time. 0707 074722. I repeat, 0707 074722. Use that contact to call our office, book an appointment with us. We'll be there to serve your healthcare needs. Again, if you're on this platform for the first time, thank you so much for joining in. Consider subscribing, because as we grow, you give us the motivation to even share bigger information with you and become even better. We will improve with time. Simply help us grow. This will be by you subscribing, by you liking our content, by you sharing our videos to your families, and by you inviting more of your friends and families to these lives so that they can learn something, a thing or two. Most of them don't care, but one day, once they listen to one of my videos, they start to care. So don't be mean with this information, and you can't be on this live and not like it. So make sure you like it so that we can reach out. The algorithms of YouTube can spread it to other people so that we can grow as a team. We appreciate you. If you're not on my Telegram channel, kindly consider getting there and just sharing your experiences there. We share so much information on Telegram. It's also called Health and Wellness Sport. Okay? So be part of that generation that is out to change lives. So these are the foods that you can enjoy when you have kidney problems. So they'll help you rejuvenate the kidneys. They're also foods that are very healthy to the kidneys. They have low sugars. If others have none, like saturated fats have no sugars. They don't spike your insulin, because remember, the major hormone that is involved in kidney disease is insulin. Then follow up with thyroid. Then follow up with estrogen, because where insulin goes, estrogen follows. Men, you cannot afford that insulin, that estrogen. So alcohol is a very serious problem in this issue. Okay? So take health seriously. Protect your kidney so that it can protect you in return. So number one on the list, of course, foods and spices that are rich in antioxidant activity, and they're also rich in anti-inflammatory activity, garlic and ginger. Don't forget turmeric on that list. Don't also forget all types of peppers, whether green or red peppers, even the yellow ones. Enjoy them in plenty. Those are natural spices that have low sugars but have anti-inflammatory activity, so they help you rejuvenate your kidneys. Enjoy the eggs, both the egg white and the egg yolks. Eat them in plenty. Don't be lied that protein diets will cause you kidney problems. They can't. Now, not unless you are at stage 4 and stage 5 of kidney problems, that requires you to talk to your nephrologist and to stick to the guidelines. If you've been here for quite some time, you know I don't like guidelines, because guidelines come from the big pharma and the food industry, but common sense comes from God. And most people, most doctors don't have common sense. They have guidelines. So enjoy your eggs, enjoy your fatty meats, all meats, beef, mutton, enjoy them. Make them fatty. And use saturated fats to cook your meals. Enjoy extra virgin olive oil to top dress your meals. Don't use it for cooking. Enjoy cucumbers, enjoy radishes. These are foods for those people who have kidney problems. So make your diet plan out of those foods. Enjoy chicken. You deserve cholesterol. Enjoy it. Enjoy the eggplant. Enjoy fish. Enjoy the liver. Enjoy all this, the seafood, the salmons. Enjoy them. Fermented cabbage is rich in vitamin K. Enjoy it. It's rich in vitamin B vitamins. Enjoy it. It's rich in folates. So if you're having problems with blood because the kidneys are failing, boost your folate through fermented cabbage. Eat green leafy vegetables. And what do you avoid? Of course, the inflammatory foods, processed foods, fizzy drinks, sugar in all forms, including fruits and honey, apart from avocado. Wheat products, both processed and whole. That bread, that brown and white bread, they're all the same. That brown and white chapati, forget about it. That diet soda is actually worse than normal soda. Drop it. Drop those painkillers that you're using for that chronic inflammation. Start fasting, because fasting will heal you the inflammation and the pain. You'll not need a painkiller. So start fasting. Drink water plus salt to help your kidney function. Not unless you're at stage 4 and stage 5 of kidney problems. Don't avoid salt. Salt does not cause you hypertension. Salt is not harmful to the kidneys. Salt is actually going to help you recover from hypertension. Salt is actually going to help you in kidney function and regulation of blood pressure. So not unless you're at stage 4 and stage 5, don't follow restrictions. Eat. Change your cooking oil to saturated fats, the animal fats. Okay? So don't be a slave to medicines. Don't allow them to make you a slave to medicine. So let me answer some few questions here before we call it a night. Hello, watching from Mumias. Beatrice Apondi. Sema yako bwana, Mumias kuna semaje? Watching from Mumias. I'm having a problem with my leg's ankle. My leg's ankle can work for long. Hey, my friend. The English though. Have done x-ray several times, but nothing comes out. Akinisaidia naumia mguu. Now listen. Don't always rely on online consultations. They are not healthy at all. Because on online consultation, I might read your statement and then interpret it the wrong way, but I need an appropriate physical examination. I need an appropriate history, patient history taking, before I come to conclusion. Okay, so I'm sorry I cannot help on that, but I think you need accurate and appropriate physical diagnosis, physical examination and observation. Ismail Onyango, I love your insights about health. Thank you so much. Ismail, where are you from? From this is Judy Kosgei. From eating clean and fasting, I realized the body can heal itself. By the way, let me tell you the truth. Fasting is a secret regimen that the industries will never tell you, that the hospitals can never tell you. My friends, if you walk into a hospital ward and simply just walk there as though you came to visit someone, and walk from bed to bed and just ask simple questions about these patients, realize those people who are on chronic conditions, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and all the TB, and all, just look at the types of foods that they're being fed. You will be so upset. You will not lack bread in hospitals. You will not lack fruits in hospitals. You will not lack Ribena and Lucozade in hospitals. You will not lack energy drinks and soda. Of course, when I was growing up, we used to take soda. We were given soda. We actually enjoyed soda when we were sick because we would actually fake a disease to get that soda. Look at blood donations. They give you soda and bread and biscuits. Then ask that person, that lab technician, why are you giving me soda and bread? They tell you it's because your glucose is going down, because your blood is going down. Now realize this. The body will know if your glucose is going down, the body will actually activate breakdown of fat to give you glucose. So why are you giving me soda? If your blood volume just goes down, the kidney totally activates production of EPO and it stimulates the bone marrow to start producing erythropoietin. And remember, in your blood, there is always cells that are flowing in and out that are called stem cells. So they are just ready to be broken down to form new blood cells. So who told you to give me soda to rejuvenate my blood cells and increase my blood volume? At least give me salt and water. I know if you've donated blood, you know what I'm talking about. In high school, we were given soda and bread, and it was exciting because, of course, in high school, there was nothing to eat. If you get bread, you're a happy man. Also, when on clean keto, my kidneys are working overtime. Is it normal? What do you mean by kidneys working overtime? Allow me to know the meaning of that. This is a channel where we put things in black and white. We don't complicate things. We don't give you these jargons, medical jargons to confuse you. No, we are here because we want to bridge that gap between healthcare and the general public. So we come in, we step in to tell you what those jargons actually mean. So we'll use the slightest terms to define everything. Doc, what about ugali and rice? I tried it for a week to stop. I just feel hungry. Even after I have eaten, I have stopped chapati and sugar. Now I'm using coconut oil and 2 meals a day. Listen to me. Ugali and rice, actually, if you're using the ones from the industries, you're wasting time. Those are highly inflammatory to your gut. Rice is also, regardless of the source, rice is highly inflammatory to your guts and your adrenal glands. Also, ugali and rice are what we call empty calories. The only thing they give you is glucose. And if you're trying to lead a healthy life, you don't need glucose. Because when you take in that glucose, you're going to spike glucose in blood and concurrently you're going to spike insulin. As you spike that insulin, this is what is happening. Every time you increase glucose, you increase insulin so that this glucose goes down. Comes a time when glucose is going up and insulin is also going up because cells do not want that insulin anymore. They are used to insulin. Wanajua huyu atapita hapa, so they don't want that insulin anymore. That is when we call it insulin resistance. Your storage is even full, so it's spilling back glucose back into the blood. That is what we call insulin resistance. Now listen, insulin is the hunger and cravings hormone. So if your insulin are always spiking up, insulin is always spiking up in blood. What it does is it sends glucose into the cells so fast and you go into hypoglycemia, low blood glucose. That is number one source of cravings because the body reacts by sending you into cravings to bring in more glucose so that it can bring back glucose back to normal. So cravings are basically insulin. Now the reason why you're craving for chapati, for ugali, for rice is because your system is still carbohydrate dependent. You're dependent on carbohydrates to burn, to get energy. You need to get to a state that is called the fat dependent, where your body, even though you can consume a complex carbohydrate, your body will still burn fat to give you energy. So train your body to burn fat more than to burn glucose. Okay, and do that through fasting, do that through taking salt and water, and do that through basically eating more fatty protein. Okay, because fats are the satiety foods and proteins, but carbohydrates are the hunger foods. So rice and ugali. Is it normal to have a low blood pressure after ditching carbs and observing 2 months? It's not. Listen, the body knows how to regulate itself. That's why you have normal kidneys. Kidneys, their role is to maintain blood pressure. So if it goes down, they bring it back to normal. If it goes up, they bring it back to normal. So that's the function of the kidneys. So yeah, possibly in the beginning you can experience that because you've been carb dependent all through, and your kidneys had started being compromised acutely. But when you fix that and you go strictly on that and start doing a 2 month and also a 1 meal a day and also the prolonged fast, you'll be better. So the body has to adapt, okay? Because remember, this is a new thing that you're introducing to it. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, later pre-diabetes. Is fasting gonna help me? Thanks. Listen, that high blood pressure was coming in as a result or secondary to pre-diabetes. So therefore, fix your diet by fasting and eating healthy keto. You'll get better. Can stage 5 renal disease be reversed completely? No, it can't. At that moment in time, that's about 5 decades of your life. You've hurt your kidneys so badly, and they can't. I told you the kidneys are difficult to rejuvenate. When you're in acute stage, well done. When you're in stage 3 and possibly early stage 4, well done. But at stage 5, it's called end stage renal disease. That is basically your kidneys failing. So at that stage, you only need dialysis and kidney transplant. But again, you still need to edit your diets because you need recovery of all other organs. So you can drop the inflammatory foods and concentrate on healthy foods and fasting. Keep up the good job. This is Rose Obambo. Thank you so much. Watching from Kisumu. Dala. Welcome aboard, Rose. We have really been brainwashed. Thanks, Doc, for coming to our rescue. Catherine, the information is power, and the right information is powerful. Okay, the problem is the health system has propagated a lot of misinformation, and this is becoming so hard to unlearn and then relearn afresh. You can imagine the people who are fighting me are not the big pharma. They are not the clients or the patients. They are getting it, but the doctors are the ones who are fighting this information because they know they have been living and surviving on that misinformation that is spread out. So their industries, their clinics, their pharmacies are surviving on that, and they think I'm fighting them. I'm not fighting them. I'm just passing out information that is true and legit. This is Shelly. I'm urinating more frequently when on clean keto and hungry after 3 hours. That is pre-diabetes. That can be diabetes. Go take a blood sugar test. Do not take a random blood sugar test of fasted blood glucose. Go and take a HbA1c and also take a C-peptide test. That will tell you the amount of insulin that you're producing. And that is very accurate. Watching from Naivasha, thank you for being a real doctor. God bless you, Blackman King. I appreciate you, bro. Last but not least, Sami Kanyue. Hi, doctor. I came across stem cell therapy in treatment of kidney disease. Is it available in Kenya? Does it work? I'm not sure if it's available in Kenya, but again, listen, don't fall for the big pharma tricks. Tricks. You cannot fix symptoms. Fix the cause, my brother. Fix the cause. Doc, you mentioned about having an itchy skin after a cold bath. Could you please expound on this a little bit? It's a problem that have been bothering me lately. So, Peter, when did you start having a cold shower? That is one. Number two, where are you living? Because some of this water that we're using is highly intoxicated. Okay. Number three, the body has a way to adapt. Now, listen, you've been used to hot showers all through, and you've messed your skin immensely. Therefore, it has to adapt. Again, not unless you have an autoimmune condition, not unless you have messed your adrenals so bad, it's nothing to worry you. It will get better with time. Okay. Most people complain about that. But again, itchy skins can be confused for cold baths, and yet the problem is in the kidneys. So go do a test and see if you're pre-diabetic. That is my answer to you. And at that moment in time, I shall call it a night. So this is the point. Kidney disease can be reversed at possibly stage 4, early stage 4, but mostly stage 1, 2, 3A, and 3B can be reversed. Don't buy the fear. Number two, you don't need to wait until you get to dialysis for you to start leading a healthy life. Start eating healthy, start fasting, rejuvenate your kidneys, rejuvenate your liver. It is that easy. You'll be better. Heal yourself from diabetes. Don't ever buy fear. Don't ever rely on drugs because drugs will not change your situation. Dietary conditions are treated by dietary solutions. Okay? Don't allow them to create problems and then create a solution for you. Don't. You're much brighter than that. Once you have this right information, use it to change your life and use it to change the lives of people around you. Remember this, on 19th of February, all the way, that is Monday to Friday, that week, we shall be in Nairobi. We shall be providing our services, consultation services in Nairobi. Book that appointment as early as possible. The contacts are provided on the chart. And the contacts are basically 0707, and then again 07, and then 4722. 0707, 07, 47, 22. Book that appointment for your parent, book that for yourself, book that for your spouse. Let us interact and make it even better for you. It is a challenge because through that you can ask me a question directly and see if I'm a real doctor. Through that you can also challenge me, and you can also use my own information to challenge me and see how it goes. However, the best part about it is you will get information firsthand, you'll get the best services from us, and we'll make sure that when you walk out of that consultation room, you are a superhuman and you are a doctor. Keep on being doctors. Until next time, have a good night. See you on Monday.